Meet the Ride1Up Vorsa, Ride1Up's most advanced electric bike yet, designed to do, well, everything. Swap between the cadence sensor or the torque sensor, switch between the 3 classes of electric bikes, and even in off-road mode. Ride1Up calls it their everyday, every way electric bike, but can it live up to its hype? In this full review, first I'll walk you through all the components, then we'll get into some first-person riding footage, talk about how the bike performs, and finally some third-person riding footage where I'll give you the pros and cons. I'll test it on pavement with a kid in tow. Perhaps I can convince my wife to hop on. And yes, we'll push it off-road. But first, let's take a closer look. Ride1Up has been simplifying their lineup. They removed the Ride1Up Rift, their fat tire electric bike, their Cafe Cruiser, and finally the 700 series to really make way for the Vorsa that's aimed to do basically all of those things. And if you aren't familiar, Ride1Up is mainly a direct-to-consumer brand. They have a handful of bike shop partners across the United States, but that's why they can keep the price so low. And like their other models, the price on the Vorsa is impressive. Current price is $15.95, and you can check up-to-date pricing down in the description. Also, if you plan to purchase a Ride1Up electric bike, you can support the channel for free just by using that link before you make your purchase, or simply scan the QR code on your screen now. Thank you so much for your support. Now that does bring up some considerations, which I'll get into, but let's talk frame options. The Vorsa is offered in a high step or the Step-Thru that you see here. I'm a 6-foot-tall rider with a 32-inch inseam, and I can still get full leg extension. And of course, my wife can ride this bike just fine as well. And speaking of the Step-Thru, the measurement right here is about 18.5 inches. Very easy to get your leg over. On the high step, the standover height is 31 inches. Both frame options come in 3 different colors: Glacier, Sage, or Slate. Glacier is what you see here. The bike weighs in at 70 pounds with the accessories attached. You can remove the top part of the rear rack as well as the metal fenders, and it's closer to 65 pounds. An awesome selling point is the weight capacity, 440 pounds on the Vorsa. With that, let's talk about all the components that Ride1Up was able to pack into this electric bike. It has Star Union hydraulic disc brakes, 180 millimeter rotor up front, and a massive 203 millimeter rotor in the rear, and yes, it's bigger than the motor. You get the name brand tires from Schwalbe. They're called the Smart Sams. These are 27.5 by 2.6 inches wide, knobby tread, so you can take this bike off-road. The front wheel attaches with a through axle, metal fenders front and rear. The front fork offers 100 millimeters of travel. It's a coil spring suspension, preload adjustment on the left, hydraulic lockout on the right. This is what you can expect from the front suspension. Ride1Up badge on the head tube, and for the first time, as far as I'm aware, 4 bolts here for mounting a platform rack. Cable management going into the down tube. The front headlight mounts to the stem plate. It's 100 lux, runs off the main battery. And in the rear, I really like this design, running lights, but also brake actuated. The handlebars are slightly swept back for a more upright riding position. But on top of that, a dual bolt adjustable stem that keeps it locked into place easier. And trust me, that is a nice bonus. And full adjustment from 10 degrees all the way up to 90. Moving on to the handlebars, we have locking ergonomic grips, a left-hand thumb throttle, Star Union hydraulic disc brake levers with motor cutoffs, and on the right side, Shimano's 8-speed trigger shifter. Moving to the display, first we have a USB-C port for charging your device, power button on top. In the top left-hand corner, we have time, a light indicator, turn those on by holding pedal assist up. The screen goes dimmer. Pedal assist level in the top middle, off, eco, tour, sport, turbo, and boost. You can engage walk mode by holding pedal assist down. Battery bars and percentage in the top right-hand corner. current speed. The T here indicates that I'm currently using the torque sensor. In the middle, we have current wattage usage, current speed, what class you're in, and you also have indicators for how much power you're using from the motor. Hitting the bottom button will give you some additional information: trip, total trip, average speed, and max speed. Hitting it again will tell you how much you're using each pedal assist level, and back to the main screen. You can get into the advanced settings by holding the bottom button. So you have unit, you can set the time, backlight, auto sleep. You can set a password, but the bike also has Apple Find My built in. You can change the torque ratio, or the amount of power you get in each pedal assist level. That's for the torque sensor. And amp output, that's going to be for the cadence sensor. You can change how much amperage you get at each pedal assist level. Riding mode allows you to change between class 1, 2, or 3, or off-road mode. Ride1Up has a waiver that you need to sign for off-road mode, eBike info, and finally advanced set. Now this is where you want to go if you want to change between the torque or the cadence sensor. That's sensor mode, and this is where you would change it to cadence or torque. And that is the color LCD display. Super easy to use, very intuitive. And because it's small, it opens up the handlebars for some accessories. Moving to the battery, it's located beneath the down tube. Keys on the left here, turn it to the right to unlock. It will drop out, but then you need to push this button to fully release the battery. Now, first off, it's paint matched, which means it blends into the frame nicely, like that design touch. The battery is 48 volt, 15 amp hours. It's UL2271 certified. The entire bike's electronics are UL2849. And it's also IPX6 rated, which is nice to see. You can check the capacity with this button right here. And maybe you're thinking about protection for your battery. You can pick up our popular waterproof and flame-resistant battery bag at shop.ebikeescape.com. Thank you guys so much for your support. The battery can be charged with the included 2-amp charger, either on the battery right here, or when it's in the bike, you can access it by lifting up this rubber cover. To put the battery back in, terminals first, and simply snap into place. Other included accessories include maintenance grease, a Ride1Up beanie, and a toolkit bag, which includes a nice Allen set, as well as a couple wrenches, as well as their assembly guide, though I highly recommend their YouTube video. There's 2 sets of bottle cage bosses, one on the down tube, as well as the C tube. Perhaps for mounting the best water bottle cage on the market, from shop.ebikeescape.com, fully adjustable for extra large water bottles. Vorsa graphics here. Included is a Velo plush saddle, pretty firm. You get plastic pedals, and here is the sensor powered by Mi-Vice. There's a rear mounted kickstand, and check out this right here. This is a mounting point for a trailer. That's really unique. So the blue here, that's the welded rack, but then on top of that, you mount the rear rack. It comes with these straps, a place to hang panniers, and the rack has a 150-pound capacity, which is very impressive, and it's compatible with their Connect Plus accessories. That's what these windows are. So you can mount a passenger kit, a cargo basket. They sell an insulated cooler, but I think one of the coolest things is they have a rear rack extension, which brings it back even further, which means you can use the passenger kit and still have storage in the rear. Vorsa is cut right into the frame here. The motor comes from AKM. It's a 750 watt motor with 95 Newton meters of torque. For gearing, 11 to 32 teeth in the rear and 48 teeth up front, single-sided. The derailleur is Shimano Acera, which is a step up from what we typically see at this price point. Right here is where you can mount passenger pegs. There's also a chainstay protector. And for a more premium look, Ride1Up opted to smooth out some of the welds around this electric bike. Now that you know everything about the Vorsa, let's get into some first-person riding footage and see how the bike performs. Let's get started. First test, throttle only. Just a note, with pedal assist turned off, still access to the throttle. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, throttle only. 1,400 watts of peak power. And reading 19, there's 20 on the display, and there's 20 on the GPS. So plenty of power, and you probably could hear the motor as well, maybe a little bit louder than some of the other motors on the market, though it is peaking at 1400 watts, and with more power certainly comes louder motors generally. All right, let's go through the various pedal assist levels. We are going to start in cadence mode. Now, if you aren't familiar with what a cadence sensor is, as long as you're spinning your legs, you are going to get power from the motor. It's basically an on-off switch. Are you pedaling? Yes, then it will give you motor power, of course, depending on the pedal assist level that you're in. Now that compares to a torque sensor, which actually measures how much pedal input, how much pressure, how hard you're pressing on those pedals, pushing your legs on the pedals, and then it amplifies it. It feels like a more natural riding experience. Usually on a cadence sensor, you feel really superhuman, and not that you can't on a torque sensor, you just have to work a little bit harder to get up to speed. Though this bike you can completely customize, which I do recommend you do, especially if your settings from the get-go were like mine. So in cadence sensor, I went 10%, 20%, 50, 80, and 100 corresponding with the pedal assist levels. And then the only change I made to the torque sensor was I made sure that in the highest pedal assist boost, I'm going to get the full power from the motor, 100%. All right, and we are going to start in Eco, and I do have it in class 3 mode, so we should hit 28 miles per hour. All right, here we go. About a quarter turn on the pedals and getting power from the motor. Right now, just about 130 watts, which is good because when it was higher, I was getting too much power from the motor, in my opinion, at least for Eco. Now, this is using Ride1Up's cadence-based system, which gives you a certain amount of amps per pedal assist level. So I'm going to continue to get motor power throughout these pedal assist levels. So I will continue to creep up in speed. That's compared to some pedal assist systems which stop at a speed. And so spinning my legs nice and easy, very easily cruising at 13 miles an hour, and we're going to creep up to 14. I'm in 6th gear, not providing a whole lot of effort. I could shift up. Remember, there's 8 gears. Let's go ahead and go into tour. Now we're getting around 260 watts. Remember, 20% is what I had it set at. And I'm going to shift up to 6th gear, 17 miles an hour, and that speed is just going to continue to creep up because the motor is going to continue to give me speed. So if you're new to electric bikes, I would turn all of these pedal assist levels way down if you're going to use the cadence sensor. All right, and sport mode, I just know I'm going to get a ton of power even though we're going up a hill here. All right, 7th gear, already hitting 20 miles an hour. And we are pulling 660 or so watts, cruising at 20 miles an hour without breaking a sweat. 22. All right, we know it's going to keep going up. Let's go into turbo mode. Hard to believe there's also boost mode after this. 28 miles an hour already. So we are hitting the top speed very easily with the cadence sensor, which is why I recommend if you're a new rider, you don't want to go that fast, you don't need all that motor power, just turn those settings down. But let's go into boost mode. I did hint that this motor was powerful based off of what I was hearing. Now it should go without saying we are on a path here, and I want to be very respectful of anyone on the path because they're not going to be expecting someone going that fast. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start right in 6th gear. And about a half turn, there we go. And just ramping in the power, 13, just shy of 1400 watts it looks like. And yeah, we're already at 23 miles an hour. So just tons of power from this motor. Now on this straightaway, I do want to hit 28 miles an hour. All right, and the way they have this geared, I think Ride1Up did a really good job. I can still put in pedal pressure and cruise at 28 miles an hour. And again, you can probably hear the motor. All right, next, we are going to go into the torque sensor mode, which is going to be my preference, especially on a bike that you have the choice. And the settings are at 15%, 25%, 40%, 50%, and then boost mode at 100%, and torque sensor. As I get to a flatter spot here, let's briefly talk about comfort. Really like these ergonomic grips. The swept-back handlebars, just a really nice riding feel, especially for a nice paved path like this if you just want to go for a cruise. And love the customization. As I kind of suspected, the seat is just okay. I imagine some folks will want to upgrade if they want an extra cushy seat, or perhaps a suspension seat post, maybe from our own shop at shop.ebikeescape.com. All right, here we go. I am in second gear, eco and torque sensor. I got the T on the screen. And just getting 50 watts. I'm going to shift up into third or fourth gear. So what I'm going to talk about is kind of the speed you can go at just a very leisurely, gentle cadence. And then I'll talk a little bit about how fast you go when you put in a little bit more pedal pressure. So I'm cruising at 13, 14 miles an hour right now. And I'm going to go into sixth gear here. Slow down for a second. We were coming down a slight hill. So 14 miles an hour, very easy. And then just a little bit more power. I can feel the motor just giving me a little extra power, 17, 18 miles an hour, a moderate amount of effort. All right, moving to tour, going to stick in sixth gear here, 14, 15 miles an hour. I'm going to shift up to seventh gear, and I'm guessing we're going to hit 20 pretty easily here. And a little bit more power here. Now I can tell that it's not giving me a ton of power. 260 watts, but we're still hitting 20 miles an hour. But I know what full power on this motor feels like because of the cadence sensor. There's 21, 22 miles an hour. And I would say I'm not working very hard. It's a amount of pressure I can maintain for a long period of time. All right, sport mode, seventh gear. Nice and easy. Again, it's only reading around 300 watts, but cruising at 15. I'm going to shift up to eighth gear, hitting 20 miles an hour, extremely easy. 22 according to the display. Let's jump into turbo, gentle cadence, 17 miles an hour. And then a little bit more leg power. Now I can feel the motor giving me a little bit more in the higher pedal assist levels here. And 24 miles an hour. This is a moderate amount of pressure. 25, and still using only like 350 watts. Getting close to the top speed of 28 miles an hour. Okay, boost. We'll start off in fourth gear from a stop. And it senses that I started pedaling right away. Shift up to fifth gear, 6, cruising at 17. 20 miles an hour, shift up to seventh gear. Again, nice and easy. Let's go into eighth gear. All right, and I didn't change my cadence or how much power I'm putting into my legs, and I'm easily cruising at 24, 25 miles an hour. And just a little bit more power from my legs, and there's 28 miles an hour, accelerated super fast. And I think this is perhaps a good example of why it's nice to have a bike like this, having a little front suspension, but also the knobbier tires. This trail just washed out from my understanding, and just going off-road is just going to be a little bit more confidence-inspiring than having city slick tires. This bike can handle stuff like this just fine, crushed gravel. It's not a mountain bike. You certainly don't want to take it on any single track. It has its limitations, but if you're someone who just wants a little bit more versatility than some of the street e-bikes, this is definitely a good option, especially with the name brand tires. All right, with that, let's get into our hill climb test. I think it's going to blast up the hill, but let's find out. All right, this hill is absolutely massive. Last time I was here, I tested out the Nargo on this hill, and this is a worst case scenario. I'm at 78% battery, and we got up to speed, and here we go. First, throttle only up the hill. 16 miles an hour, 14. And then I'll go up while pedaling, and very curious how the torque sensor feels. 11 miles an hour, and the motor is cranking. We are using 1,350 watts, so that's about the peak power. I think 11 miles per hour was the minimum speed, which if you could see this hill in person, it is super impressive that it can even make it up this hill. And there we go. So no problem with the hill climb. One thing I haven't talked about yet are these brakes, these Star Union hydraulic disc brakes. And I have to say, not only do they feel really good, the stopping power is also very good. We're going 27 miles an hour, 30, here we go. And I can easily lock up the rear tire. So while not a name brand, still a brand we see on some electric bikes, they do perform well, and especially at this price point. And for what this bike is intended for, you won't be longing for better brakes. But let's go through the various pedal assist levels. Now, I already know in Cadence sensor, it's just going to zoom up the hill, because as long as I spin my legs, I'm going to get motor power. Yes, I might have to go in the higher pedal assist levels, but I just know it's going to be fine. What I want to test out is the torque sensor. And as expected, I'm in second gear now. Eco, significantly hard. Like, I don't even know if I could make it up the hill, but let's go ahead into tour. Not much relief there. Sport. All right, there we go. Feeling some relief. And my legs would still be burning at the top, but it's something I could do if I still wanted to get a workout up this hill. Let's go into turbo. We are pulling around 500 watts. If that gives you an idea, remember we are peaking around 1350. And boost mode. And even more power there. And now I'm just really gently spinning my legs, and we're cruising up at 7 miles an hour. Now, if I put in a little bit more leg power, not much, and yes, I can put in more leg power, we're getting closer to 1,000 watts without not that much more effort. So this torque sensor, compared to other torque sensor electric bikes, it's certainly easier to get more power from the motor, especially if you tune it that way within the display. All right, that was a great ride, but let's get into some third-person riding footage. I'll give you the pros and cons of the Ride1Up Vorsa. Ride1Up's Vorsa fills a void in the e-bike market, offering a full-sized, versatile ride for just $15.95. It's the best value in its class when you compare to similarly spec'd electric bikes, at least from what I've found. And I don't want to dismiss fat tire e-bikes, they're great for specific use cases, but the Vorsa's lighter frame and knobby Schwalbe tires make it a better pick for mixed terrain. It's noticeably more nimble on pavement or lighter trails compared to bulkier fat tire models, giving you more flexibility without so much sacrificing grip. The key highlights on the Vorsa: the motor peaks near 1,400 watts, delivering serious Class 3 power. With a 440-pound capacity and 150-pound rear rack limit, it handles heavy loads with ease. The optional extendable rear rack adds cargo space if you need it, or you can remove the rear rack that it comes with and the fenders for a much cleaner look. The new display is a standout, letting you switch between cadence or torque sensors. It's Ride1Up's most advanced display yet, and you can fine-tune power for each pedal assist level. You can truly customize your ride, which isn't necessarily something we often see at this price point. Part of Ride1Up's DNA is to always surprise us with a few components on the bike. In this case, it has to be the Schwalbe tires and the Acera drivetrain, but they also smoothed out the welds, made the battery cover paint matched, and integrated a rear light into the fender, giving it a more premium feel, especially for this price. Swept-back handlebars and the dual bolt adjustable stem ensure comfort and stability, especially for light off-roading. Mounting points for a front rack boost versatility. I hope Ride1Up does this on future generations of all of their models. The bike and battery are certified to UL standards. The slightly above average battery is good for between 30 and 60 miles of range. The Star Union brakes performed well, and the basic front suspension is what we've come to expect from more budget-minded e-bikes. Functional, yes, but not something that extremely stands out here. The motor is certainly a bit louder, likely due to its higher power. For some people, this matters more than for others. And assembly is more involved, which is what we've come to expect from Ride1Up. Ride1Up packs these bikes tightly. It's actually surprising an e-bike is in some of these size boxes. In this case, you'll need to install the front fork, hydraulic brake, as well as the stem. Their guides and videos help. It can be hard to align those hydraulic disc brake calipers just perfectly. Also, the Vorsa only comes in an XR or high step or ST step-through frames with no size options. It's more of a one size fits all approach. These are trade-offs for just keeping the prices so low. If you're ready to buy any Ride1Up e-bike, do me one quick favor, use our link down in the description or scan the QR code on your screen before you make your purchase. It's free and makes videos like this one possible. I love an e-bike that serves multiple purposes, and Ride1Up really went out of their way to make sure the Vorsa can do just that. It's their most customizable model yet, packed with advanced features. Ride1Up has been a trusted brand to us since 2020 with a thriving Facebook community, US-based support, and weekend sales agents. They're a brand that we see over and over that customers are happy with. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.